We're going back in time to
Nope.
Germany to save Anne Frank and bring her back to the present where she will be my sister and, like, also my wife, maybe. I don't fucking know. The Airplane Over the Sea is an album released in 1998. It had by Neutral Milk Hotel. It's got 11 tracks, and I've always loved the album. It's like it's always been nice. It's like a very classic indie rock-ish. It's kind of rock, kind of not. Indie's very poorly defined. I might make a video on that later, but I don't know. It received pretty high praise when it first released, but it didn't really go anywhere. Like, it just kind of ended at that. It made a couple of lists of, like, best albums of the 90s and stuff like that, but, like, nothing really came of it until it was re-released back in '05, where it was picked up by the early 4chan community. It became a huge meme. Like, every source I've seen said it compared it to, like, 2020's Among Us thing, I guess, that it was. And if it was anything like that, it must have been awful. And a lot of people, like, didn't actually stop, like, caring about the music because of all the memes, which makes me sad because the internet never changes and it just ruins everything you love. But now for the theories. There was some weird fucking theories about this album. It's about Anne Frank. The album is about Anne Frank. Jeff Mangum said in an interview that he read Anne Frank's diary and he was, like, absolutely touched. And then 2 years after that interview, the album released. He used a lot of the same language, like go back in a time machine, in that interview and in the songs. So it's pretty safe to say it's about Anne Frank, but the theories that people made were some wild shit. From what I understand, this 4chan post was kind of like the catalyst to all of the just the conspiracy theory part of it. It points out, like, the resemblance between Anne Frank, Jeff Mangum's sister, and Jeff Mangum's wife, which is kind of weird. And I don't really see it. Like, I'm looking at it right now, I don't see much of the resemblance. But the theory goes that he did actually have a time machine, went back in time, saved Anne Frank, brought her to the 70s so she could be the same age as him, so they could be adults together. And then when they grew up, changed her name again, because she changed her name not from Anne Frank to something else when she came to the 70s, and then again when she grew up, so they could get married. And that's really weird, like, kind of incesty. I don't like it, but what the fuck? I don't know if people actually believe in this. Like, it seems really fucking stupid, but I don't think they're being sarcastic. I don't think the 4chan users that are doing this have, like, the developed enough social skills to be sarcastic. Like, and also, it's fucking '07. If you're on the internet in '07, it's just, like, there's nothing to do. What was on the internet? Like, Club Penguin? No, was that even out yet? When was Club Penguin released? You had to be a different breed to be stuck on there 24/7. So you definitely can't comprehend sarcasm. That's where I was going with that, yeah. Okay, let's get to the actual music now. This is stupid. The album is just about as close to perfect as you can get. It's made 10 out of 10 on a lot of people's lists, but I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I want to give it all the ratings more consistent, so it's gonna be 9 out of 10 in total. But I'm gonna rate every track, like, in comparison to the others, not in comparison to all music in general, like how other people would do it. The first 2, maybe 3 tracks, King of Carrot Flowers, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3, I don't really know. They're divided into 2 songs on Spotify, so I'm just gonna listen to what that says, and let's jump right into it. It's a very gentle opening to the song and, like, the whole album. There's this, like, contrast between, like, the very upbeat kind of guitar and then the, like, really dark lyrics. Like, it basically goes just like, my mom is alcoholic and she stabbed my dad, and then the dad didn't really like that, so she was just throwing trash all over the floor. No, wait, fuck. He was throwing trash all over the floor, but it was like this upbeat guitar behind it, so it's fucking weird. But I liked it. It starts off with, like, that dissonance I'm gonna say 8 out of 10. You know, 10 out of 10 on its own probably, but in comparison to the other albums, it gets better. But it's a great intro. The next track is A King of Carrot Flowers Part 2. Online it's listed as Parts 2 and 3, but it's annoying to talk about because there's only one thing on like Spotify and YouTube and shit, so I'm just gonna say it's Part 2. It's got like a slow opening that builds up hype. It's got like a slow opening that builds up hype for the rest of the song, and I think that works out. Especially with it being like a sequel, kinda. It leads right in, like, it's like a smooth transition from part 1 to part 2. I think a transition like that is really fun. The energy had been building up from part 1, so it could kinda just be all energy the whole time, and I like that. It's pretty good. But it also made it have like a non-traditional song structure, which I think can sometimes be good, and sometimes can be a little weird. But I like it, so it gets a 9 out of 10 from me in total. This one's the album's namesake. It absolutely lives up to it. It's so good. Honestly, I don't really got much to say. It's just good. It's so sad and like melancholic the whole time, and then the trumpets come in and it really like puts you in that time period. And like the album cover, right? It's like that, like it comes from an old postcard from like whatever, like 1800 something, and like when the trumpets come in, it makes it so good. It really puts you in that time period, an idea. I mean, I know it's like the 1940s, but like it's a similar vibe, you know? 10 out of 10, without a doubt. This is gonna be a shitty video to start doing like out of 10s for every song, because like, they're all gonna be 10s. Next up, we got Two-Headed Boy. This fucking 11 out of 10, dude. This one's up there. It might be my favorite one. It's got the same like melancholic shit of the other tracks, but it just does it better. And like for the lyrics, like he gets to like points where he's like screaming sometimes, and I think that's like, screaming can sometimes be bad in music, but like they did it good here because like you can really feel that emotion. I love good emotion in music, so it really works. I don't know why, but I really want to hear it with like a little bit of like an Irish accent. I don't know why, I just think it would fit so well. Not any other track, specifically Two-Headed Boy. I just like want to try to hear it in an Irish or Scottish accent. The Fool. A lot of the best tracks on the album have like a follow-up. So like if something really good plays, like the next track will be like an instrumental that is just dedicated to the previous track. And this is the follow-up of Two-Headed Boy. It also does pick up, like, there's like a transition of note, there's like a transition of like the chords or something, I don't know, but I like it a lot. It's a real heavy, somber song with it's a lot of brass, and I like that. Like it's real, the use of the brass in this album is just so good, because it puts you in that time, it puts you in that vibe. It's used really well. 9 out of 10. Holland 1945, another 11 out of 10, but it deserves it, like all the way, it deserves it. It's very high energy, and like, probably the highest energy in the song, and it's got this like really low bassy sound. Like, it's like if you took the bass and just turned it up, so there's this unintelligible noise. I think it's like a guitar, it might be a synth as well, but I really can't tell because it's just so bassy, but I like it. It's used in a couple other places in the album, but not the same as it is here. Moving on to Communist Daughter. I'm gonna say this one's another 10 out of 10. It's one of the sadder songs, like a lot low. While Holland 1945 had like a lot of high energy, this had a very low energy. It's really good. It kind of reminds me of a Radiohead song, just a little bit. Like, maybe like Radiohead fans are gonna fucking crucify me for this, but it gives off that vibe. I don't know. It uses that brass again really well, and it works so well. It mentioned semen at a point, and like, cum has never been grosser. I went into it knowing it was about Anne Frank, and just like, you know, she's like a young girl, and like that, it just feels like the grossest. It feels like shitting on something, but worse. I don't know. It like like the end of innocence, it feels like, because like, I don't know, I don't like it, or well, I do like it, but I don't like it, you know what I mean, like, it's so gross, the imagery, but I feel like it works so well. It's gross and really sad and disgusting, but like it adds a layer to the song that just feels like the end of innocence. And I'm probably talking too much about this, but it's so good. 10 out of 10. This one's a 10 out of 10. Oh, Kamali. A lot of the more concept-y albums that they got have like super long tracks on them. This is that. I don't really know about it. It starts to sound like every other track on the album combined. Like it doesn't have a lot it doesn't have that oomph that a lot of the other songs have. You know how the AI will recreate something and it's just the most boring, average thing ever? It's like that. That's how I feel about it. It's still good, but it feels like it was riding on the length of it to be special. It mentions the cum thing again, and all the same stuff I said before, but it's 7 out of 10. It's not the best, but it's still got that sound, and it's still really good. Moving on. Ghost. This one also uses that super bassy, like synth maybe sound, and I really like it. It has the line, "She was born in a bottle rocket," which in the minds of these conspiracy theorists is the time machine. And it also has the line, "And one day in New York City, baby, a girl fell from the sky." I don't know what that's supposed to be, but I guess that's also supposed to mean something to the time travel theorists. How the fuck did Mangum Gate gain so much, like, traction? It's the stupidest thing ever. Did I tell you it's called Mangum Gate? That's a thing, because, like, Jeff Mangum, he's, like, the lead singer, if you haven't gathered. It's so fucking stupid. Oh, my God. 6 out of 10. It's not bad. It's just not special. There's nothing special about it. Untitled. Now, I'm speaking right out of my ass here, but a track that, like, is untitled or has untitled, that is the name of it, I don't feel like that's, like, an art thing. I feel like that's just, like, a pretentious bullshit thing. But, like, I'm speaking right out of my ass, just talking about the name. The song is alright. It's pretty good, honestly. It's a follow-up to Ghost in the same way that, like, The Fool was to Two-Headed Boy. It's got these bagpipes that aren't anywhere else in the album that I'm remembering, at least, and I really like it. I like the bagpipes. Like, all of the obscure instruments are so fun in this album. Like, you get, like, the really bassy synth, and you get the bagpipes and all the brass. That's why I didn't want to call it rock, because it uses all the instruments in such a creative way. It makes, like, new sounds with the guitars and the synth and all the brass. I love it. The whole album. Oh, and it's a 7 out of 10, because it doesn't really have anything special. Same criticism as before. Two-Headed Boy 2, it's definitely a more concept-y track. Like, the first 30 seconds are just, like, tornado sirens or, like, whale songs or something. But once the music starts, it starts to fall victim to, like, the other problems of the album, like the homogeneity of the whole album. I wish I could say it was good, because it's, like, the last track on the album, but it just isn't. The album, like, it starts off so good, but it falls off so hard. Another 6 out of 10. I'm sorry. The album in total absolutely gets a 10 out of 10 for me, because it's while it did have its issues, it was just so good. Like, every track, like, listening to it in full, like any other of those concept works, like, it's really good otherwise. A lot of other videos like this where people, like, talk about, like, an album or a movie or, like, a game or something, it can kind of be difficult to like, actually experience the piece of media people are talking about. But this, guys, I implore you so hard, you gotta listen to it. I'm gonna link it in the description. It's not too long, like, none of the tracks are especially long, like, other than O Kamali, which is 8 minutes, but just listen to it. Like, you gotta listen to it. I don't do it any justice, and everything I say is just my opinion, so yeah, you gotta listen to it. This video took a while. I got, like, a bad cold halfway through writing the notes for this video, and that just threw everything off course, because, like, then I got better, and then, like, I really didn't want to, like, finish writing the script, because, like, that I remember I got stuck like right before O Comely because I just didn't want to have to listen to the long ass song again. And like all the best tracks on the album had already happened by O Comely, so it was just really boring. But thank you so much for watching if you watched all the way to the end. I will see you guys later. Bye.